I was returning the rental car, and my family just said stay there because they were putting everybody in a safe place in Terminal 2 because they heard gunshots and they ran. My 90-year-old grandma's in there. She ran. Yeah, they're fine. They're in a Delta staff lounge. Back to Michigan.
So, as you just heard, Brooke, just like this young lady here, there are several other families that are essentially stranded as Fort Lauderdale Airport has closed down operations. We're going to keep getting more information and bring it to you as soon as we get our heads around what we're watching here.
Bless her heart, all those people waiting and wondering. Boris, thank you. Thank you to you and your crew. Jonathan Wackrow has just been seated. He's former Secret Service. What do you make of this? People just running and running? What's going on?
Listen, law enforcement has shown up onto an active scene, and they're going through their protocols for an active shooter. They're going out there, one, trying to stop the active shooter, and two, provide a secure environment. Everything that we're seeing right now is just confusion. We're seeing different groups, whether it's airport operations, the crisis communication is really falling apart here. To see that much confusion on the air side, which is supposed to be the secure side, which is where the planes are, is absolutely amazing to me. People are dispersing in all locations. Again, the airport authority is not controlling that situation on both sides. Law enforcement, first and foremost, is showing up to do the job, to put the threat down. Other organizations that are there are supposed to work in tandem to that to remove the public, get them away from the threat. Here we see a threat that was, just yards away, and people are sitting on the sidewalk. That, to me, makes no sense. Ari?
Yeah, Jonathan, I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth here. The fact is that we see all these people running. If let's say we're in the airport and something like this happens, if there was no direction, you were just going to take off. All right, you can go in any direction you can. So if you're beyond security and you hear gunshots and you know something is going on, if they're not directing you in the airport where to go, you're going to run right out to the tarmac. Now, what they should do is they should have protocols, and this is not on the police. Like John said, the police are there for one reason and one reason only, to get rid of that threat and secure that location. This is the airport that's got to have protocols together. In the event something like this happens, where are these people going to go? When you've got all these people on the tarmac, there ain't going to be no more flights taken out of this airport. There are probably people that went past security without even being checked. All right, in the event when this is finally all over, all right, everybody's going to have to come back and go through security again to be able to take off out of that airport. It's a lot of confusion here. There's no direction out there on the tarmac. You can see some people running this way, some people running that way. Who's out there directing them to where they should go, which is a safe location?
All right, gentlemen, stand by. I've got Florida Senator Bill Nelson, who's joining me now. Senator Nelson, it's
The Daily Beast is reporting on how some high-profile blogs have again fallen for fake news. The truly sad part about it is that it was fake news about a news organization's news reporting. Could there be any story more easily verifiable? No, there couldn't. Yet clickbait purveyors, InfoWars and Gateway pundits swallowed the fake news hook, line and sinker. Again. Alan West's website was also suckered by a fake story about the Fort Lauderdale shooting conjured by the alt-right on Twitter. The gist of the fake story was that CNN altered pictures of the Hispanic gunman to make him look more white. There were two problems with the story. One, it appears that CNN had not even released a photo of the shooter Esteban Santiago at that point. That should have been easily verifiable had the dupes bothered to check CNN before regurgitating the story. That should have been easily verifiable had the dupes bothered to check CNN before regurgitating the story. The second problem is that the photos being used to prove that CNN had doctored Santiago's skin color were not even photos of the same Esteban Santiago. Far right-wing figureheads immediately invented an elaborate and racist conspiracy theory that CNN had lightened a photo of alleged Fort Lauderdale airport shooter Esteban Santiago shortly after the FRID attack. In reality, CNN had yet to air a picture of Santiago, let alone lightened a picture of him. The conspiracy also used a picture of an entirely different man named Esteban Santiago, not the alleged shooter. Still, writers at websites like InfoWars and Gateway Pundit tweeted about CNN's non-existent Photoshop job. Former Republican Florida Congressman Allen West, who represented Fort Lauderdale itself, even tweeted about a conspiracy and linked to an article about it on his own website. Why is CNN attempting to make the shooter look more white? Bizarre, reads InfoWars editor Paul Joseph Watson's tweet, which had 3,500 retweets at press time. Gateway Pundit's Jim Hoft even wrote a story about the so-called incident titled "Look How CNN Doctored Photo of FD Lauderdale Shooter Esteban Santiago," which had 2,500 shares in its first hour on Facebook, according to BuzzSumo. It appears CNN doctored the photo to make the suspect look more white, wrote Hoft. Sad. Sad, indeed, but not for the reasons Hoft thought. Hoft later pulled the story when he found out it was fake. One of the problems with the so-called fake news trend on social media isn't the existence of fake stories. It's the lack of skepticism that makes people react to a run with stories that affirm the political worldview without even checking to see if they're authentic. People who initiate false stories are to blame for the story's existence, but if you sell those stories to your followers as truth for the sake of getting clicks, you're the real problem. Without your uncritical rush to be the first to spread the latest outrage, the fake stories would die on the vine. Automatically believing every negative story about the mainstream media, Barack Obama or Hillary Clinton, and rejecting or rationalizing every negative story about Donald Trump is not being conservative. It's just being an asshole.